Yes, he's oh my God.
AWOL.
All right. Well, hello to everyone who is here. The movie that I chose for this week is The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and starring Henry Cavill, Armie Hammer, and Hugh Grant, based on the TV series of the same name, Man from U.N.C.L.E., which ran from 1964 to 1968. I was a huge fan as a young teen. It was directed by Guy Ritchie, and he also wrote the screenplay. And it's set in 1963. We see that at the very beginning of the movie during the Cold War. And we know it's 63 also because JFK is still alive. You see clips of him giving, like inspiring speeches. So basically we have a CIA agent named Napoleon Solo, Henry Cavill, and a KGB operative, Ilya Kuryakin, played by Armie Hammer, who I will talk about later. And they, sort of against their will, are put in together for a joint mission against what's at that point is a mysterious criminal organization who was started by a former Nazi, and that organization is working to proliferate nuclear weapons. They have a nuclear scientist we find out is working against his will. Scenes are started out in East Berlin, West Berlin, where Solo gets a young woman who's a mechanic, but we later find out she's the daughter of the nuclear scientist, out. And that's where Solo and Kuryakin first cross paths in some very violent ways. And then then we go to Rome, and then we go to an island off of the Italian coast. And even though they're working together and their agendas seem to be the same, they really aren't. They're forced to work together as it is, but they're both told how the disc, and that's one of the things I want to talk about too, is some of the anachronisms that we find in the movie. But the disc is what each country wants in order to have nuclear superiority. In other words, how to make a better bomb. And each one is told to, kill the other one if necessary. So it's, like I said, it was based on an old TV show. But the movie from 2015, it won no major awards, as you might expect. It had a budget of $75 million. I mean, Guy Ritchie loves to spend. And worldwide, it grossed 110 million, but US and Canada, it only made 45 million. So it was considered quite the disappointment. It's set up for a sequel. You can tell at the end, the sequel never happened, primarily because of the low box office. The first movie didn't make enough to make anyone want to make a second film. But like I said, Guy Ritchie was the director. He also, as you might recall, directed the Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law, and also Snatch with Brad Pitt. Lots of others too, but those are kind of the big ones. So I'll talk about reviews later. And there's a few things that interested me that I also have kind of an idea of what I'd like to talk about. But before I do that, I'd like to hear from you guys what you thought. You enjoyed the movie and that sort of thing. So the floor is open.
Well, I enjoyed it. I always like a good action movie. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a great action movie. So I'd never seen it. And yeah, it's good.
Well, I liked it, but I watched it at 3 different times, so I didn't see it all together. And the segments I saw made sense. I had stopped at kind of convenient spots. I'll be interested to know what you're thinking about the anachronisms, Karen, because I saw a bunch of them in there.
I bet you did.
Well.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And okay. Okay, we're just,
In fact,
let it
that
go.
disc, look how little it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Remember,
yeah.
back in the 80s with floppy disks that are like this.
Well,
Right.
well, the whole thing about the off-the-road vehicles in 1963. and
Right, right. That's one
motorcycles.
of the ones, yeah, those 4x4s,
Right.
those had not been invented yet. Yeah, yeah.
So, and then the other thing is, it took me a little while to get all the players on the correct teams,
Hmm.
and that might have been more a function of watching it in three chunks rather than one. But like Jeff said, it was a it was a fun action movie. So it was
Good.
okay. It was all right.
Well, I'll go. Yeah, I agree that it was a fun action movie, but I too am kind of was a fan of the uncle, Man from Uncle in the 60s. And because it took such a different character, a different tone, in my opinion, and a way different character portrayals that I was like, oh, I guess it wasn't a homage, it was more like a rethinking of Man from Uncle. Because and you, Karen, if you were a big fan, I was kind of a big fan. And I remember the Man from Uncle, people used to think about it, well, was it the man from Uncle Sam? Or was it the man from the United Nations? Because it was U.N.C.L.E. Of course, we
No,
know
they
it was
tell
the
you what the
United
U.N.C.L.E. stands for. They did in the TV show and they do in this movie.
Right,
too.
but the
Yeah.
United Network
Right.
of, but my point is that the reason why it was never, it was ambiguous was because you didn't want it, nobody wanted to know, it was a global corporation or a global network.
Mhm.
So that's what I mean is that that tone. The other thing, and then I know, and I love Armie Hammer, but I
Me
love
too.
Ilya Kuryakin in the 60s. I loved David McCallum, and I thought that Ilya Kuryakin in this movie was like he had big anger issues, and he was kind of a nut. Where Ilya Kuryakin, they really were partners because they worked against Thrush. They weren't against each other. And I guess that's what kind of bothered me. It was like, yeah, at the end they kind of get together, but really, Ilya was this cerebral character in the series,
Right.
and he was always just so smart. And
I think they were setting it up for a sequel at the end where they burn the disc, so that neither one of them has to kill the other. And like I said, the sequels just didn't happen because the movie kind of financially, yeah.
And I thought, Thrush, Thrush was a big thing. Thrush, it wasn't Russia, and it was
Right.
another organization that everybody was against. And in this particular one, it was against Victoria. Wasn't that her name? Veronica Victoria.
Yeah.
Victoria.
Mhm. Vinciguerra, Victoria Vinciguerra.
Yeah. And then of course what I did like, of course, you remember Leo G. Carroll, who played Topper, was Waverly, and Hugh Grant being Waverly. Love that. I did love that. But
yeah, did you realize Leo G. Carroll was in his 80s when they made Man from
oh
Uncle?
my God.
Really? Yeah.
But he's
Wow.
yeah. But anyway, I really enjoyed it for what it was. It's just because I'm more of I guess, a purist or something. It's like, gosh, I wish they would have. Maybe if they didn't have it, Man from Uncle, I would have liked it more. If I just didn't see that title, if it was called something else.
Mm.
I don't know. I liked it. I can't say, I love action and I love spy stuff. And, those are one of my favorites. But in this particular case, I was just so upset with Ilya that I was like, you're not the Ilya that I know. I guess that was it. But anyway, it was good.
He kind of played a different Ilya too, didn't he? I mean, in The Man from Uncle, he was never he was already turned, right? Didn't he work out of the office?
Yeah, yeah, but there was a whole bunch of them. It was a whole organization. U.N.C.L.E was an organization that took everybody from all over, and they all worked together against Thrush. That was kind of the way it worked. And in this one, it's kind of more like America and Russia, you know,
I mean,
against each other and having to work together.
Ilya
Yeah.
Kuryakin, he was more like Q or something. You know, where he like from James Bond. He like
Yeah,
he was like
well,
the smart guy in the room that could do the technology and stuff
right,
like that.
Right.
but he was so much cuter than Q.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and in
Cute.
the TV show, even though it was on for 4 years, you really didn't get the backstory on those
No.
two main characters. And they in Guy Ritchie's screenplay, he does give them the backstory. And what
Yeah.
so
But I think if I'm not mistaken, and I might be, but I think the backstory with this one, where Napoleon was a thief he wasn't a thief in the series
No,
or ever
no.
a thief.
Sure.
As far as I remember, he was a spy. I mean, he was CIA, but he wasn't a thief. He didn't have to be. He
Right.
wanted. He was another James Bond, you know.
Yeah, Solo in the TV show was a veteran of the Korean War.
Yes.
Versus in this movie, he's a veteran of World War II. But the backstory of him being a thief reminded me. Remember that TV show "It Takes a Thief" with Wagner, where they have to they recruit him. As long as he got caught. So I thought Ritchie kind of took those two 60s TV shows and kind of blended them. But yeah.
Okay.
I enjoyed it a lot. It took me back a few, however many years, we won't say 60 some. I didn't, I don't know how to put this together. It wasn't the same as a TV show, of course, and you don't want it to be, but I felt like there was a lot missing. And somehow, what's the head guy's name? Hugh Grant, his character.
Waverly, yeah.
He sort of brought it all together.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, where they're over here doing this, and Solo's doing this, and Kuryakin's doing that. And it didn't seem like they were on the same page sometimes, but then Hugh Grant kind of brought them all back together. And Gabby's part, I thought that was kind of lame, personally. I mean, she's pretty. Who doesn't love a pretty face, right? But I didn't get her character so much. I thought it was a little.
Well, she got to do the double thing. They think she's working for one side, and then it appears like she's working for the other, and then for a third. Yeah, she got to build.
She got to do all that. Yeah. So I'm going to leave any further comment about Armie Hammer until Karen gets to it.
Which one is Armie Hammer?
Ilya Kuryakin.
Kuryakin, the great big guy. Oh boy, I'll tell you, between him and Henry, they had it going on with the physique.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think it's interesting. Behind Bill, they're both the same height, which is certainly not the case.
They're not.
No, not even close. No. He's standing on a box or something.
Ilya is about 15 yards behind him.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is. They aren't the same distance, but Henry had made a comment in one of the reviews that he was so glad he didn't have to take his shirt off for this movie, so he didn't have to work out as hard to look magnificent as he does. So I thought that was hilarious. But anyway, that's all I'll say for now.
I watched it. I mean, I liked it. It's good action and all that. But and Patty watched it too. Patty loved it when she was done. She goes, "That was great." I think she liked all the action. I think she liked the men in it. But in the back of my mind, this Armie Hammer, he got himself into some pretty bad trouble.
You think?
With
you mean for real or in the movie?
And I watched some, Entertainment Tonight one night a couple years ago, and they talked about all the things that he did and all the trouble he got into. I kind of had a hard time getting into this movie just because of that.
Oh, really?
I was reading a little bit about it on Wikipedia about him, and it sounds like maybe he's, I don't know, reformed, or his career is restarting, it sounded like. But I mean, you know, that was one thing that kind of didn't get me as fully involved as I might have liked to have been. But I did get involved because what's her name? Alicia
Victoria?
Vikander. She was Ex Machina. You know, she played Ex Machina, and that was one of our movie club movies from a couple years ago. So she's been in a lot of good stuff too. But anyway, that was pretty much my thoughts on the movie.
Well, Donnie, you mentioned you know, Victoria.
Yeah.
Did you recognize that's Elizabeth Debicki? Did you recognize her? She played Diana in the 3rd season of The Crown.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, I watched The Crown, but I haven't watched it that much. You know,
Okay.
I've watched some of it and then I've stopped. So I don't even know if I saw her. So I wouldn't have,
Okay.
wouldn't have
She
recognized.
she's 6'2".
Wow.
Unreal.
She
Yeah.
looks like she could
Good
be
villain. Good villain
Yeah,
when
she
they're
was a
tall.
good villain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who haven't we heard from? Jeff, all right.
And Gary,
Is Gary?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gary's here.
he's here.
Hi.
Oh, there he is. Hey,
Hey.
Gary.
Hi.
Yeah. So you know, usually people use the word derivative in a pejorative way, but I felt like Guy Ritchie did a great job of pulling little pieces from all kinds of different spy movies. You know, atomic bombs and the old switcheroo on the bomb and the submarine and the, you know, the beautiful Italian boats and the, you know, using the ocean and just all the different devices that are usually used in those movies were melded together, I thought, very effectively. And and the story didn't depend on those, but it was supplemented by those. So I enjoyed the whole experience of that.
The soundtrack, or the, you know, music that we heard, the, you know, the 60s music was mostly Italian pop music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would have been such a awful job to have to go make that movie like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But somebody's got to do it. Yeah.
Well, what
Not
I
quite the
remember
Revenant.
from my prime is the movie Mission Impossible, or the TV show Mission Impossible and Uncle were in the same era, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And Man from Uncle then became, or Mission Impossible then became a movie series. And I didn't even, until Karen picked it, I didn't even know there was a Man from Uncle movie. And the way it ended, it sounded like they were setting it up for a
Sure.
series.
Yeah. They were.
Yeah.
Did it happen?
No.
No,
Was
it financially it was a bomb. It was $75 million and it made 45 million in the US and Canada. So worldwide it made 110 million, but it was a disappointment financially.
Was
So
it because of what Bill talked about, that there may have been issues with the stars that nobody wanted to sign on?
no, because the stuff with Armie Hammer didn't come out until like 2020.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you know, that I don't, you know, although, I mean, obviously he was doing shit before that, but I don't think that, I think it really was, you know, financial, you know, and it didn't get good reviews. I mean,
No.
people like on Reddit and people liked it, and there were a lot of reviews where people were like, oh, I keep waiting for them to make the sequels, and it's like, well, don't hold your breath, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And
They
I
did
lived
make
in a
what
I lived in a 2 TV station town. We had an NBC and a CBS, and I think Man from Uncle was an ABC show. So I didn't get to see it, and I didn't know the dynamic. But what I enjoyed about the movie was when one spy's trick failed, the other spy's trick saved the day, and they sort of were each other's foil. They were on each. It reminded me of Mad Magazine's Spy versus Spy a little bit. So
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
there was plenty to like about it, but I think compared to what's been done with the Mission Impossible
Right.
franchise versus this, it's fell a little short, and I can see why it didn't continue. But I'm curious, what did you want us to see in this, Karen? What was it that you
Yeah,
thought?
I was
Yeah,
curious
well,
too.
I honestly, I just kind of wanted something kind of a little more fun than what we had lately. And I had wanted to do Argyle, but it was only available on the one service, and it was so. But once I had seen Argyle, and I sort of rekindled my Henry Cavill romance, I'm like, oh well, let's watch Man from Uncle. But I wanted a spy. I was just kind of in the mood for a spy romp, and so that was one of the reasons that I picked it. Although that is one of my questions, one of my questions was, so what is your favorite spy film? Does any?
Well, there's a
Wow.
whole James Bond
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
series.
Well, you got to
And
pick
there's the-
one.
I don't know if you
Ah,
could, how you
Can
could.
you
I
pick
mean,
one?
yeah, James Bond and Mission Impossible, completely different, kind of.
Yeah.
What was the one, Karen, that we liked on, I think it was on Netflix with Gary Oldman?
Oh, on Apple
Slow
TV.
Horses.
Oh, Slow Horses. Yeah,
Oh.
that's a series. Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Gosh, there's so many different spy movies. I don't know if I could pick.
You got to remember, for religious reasons, I wasn't allowed to watch movies until I was 28 years old, so I
Oh
missed
my
most of those.
Lord, my God.
Oh my
That's
God.
control.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I had time to think about it, and I think, and as I was looking at different 007 movies, and it's like, yeah, I liked that. Yeah, I liked this much, about that. Always liked Pierce Brosnan and his batch of
Yeah.
007 movies. But actually, I think for whatever reason, as I was looking through different spy movies, Charlie Wilson's War was the one that I went like, yeah,
Oh,
I
that
would watch
was a
that
good
again.
one.
Good,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was more true.
That was
than-
Yeah,
one of our
right,
movies.
exactly. Yeah.
Movies.
That's so, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It
And I
is.
love Philip Seymour Hoffman. God, what a loss.
Yes, he was a wonderful actor.
Yeah.
I got a chance to do a extended interview with Charlie Wilson after he left Congress. He was he was the keynote speaker for the AFL-CIO major banquet up here in Kansas City, and they had me host it and do an extended interview with him afterwards. And the one takeaway I remember, because it's now been quite a few years ago, is he wasn't really happy with the fact that I said, so your Mujahideen that you were so great to help in the 80s turned out to be the Taliban. How do you feel about that now? And he just sort of blew it off and said, well, it's like the way it was. And, oh yeah, it was. Exactly the way it was.
Why aren't you on Meet the Press, Mahoney?
Lots of reasons.
I wish you were.
Now, my back to the spy movies. My hands down favorite is a James Bond movie, and it's a Sean Connery movie. It's one of the earlier ones, To Russia with Love.
Yeah, that's his
I just think that's a well developed plot and not quite as many gadgets and stuff like that, and a thicker plot. That's always been my favorite. The other thing I wanted to bring up was I was aware of the Man from U.N.C.L.E. TV series, but I didn't watch it very much. So in just a thumbnail, what were the differences between what we saw this week and that TV series? I mean, was the TV series lighter?
Oh yeah, the tone. Don't you think, Karen? The tone was different.
I do. Yeah, I
the
agree.
tone was different, and the characters were really different. Even
the Napoleon solo.
Napoleon was similar. Yeah,
It's similar,
Napoleon was similar, but Ilya Kuryakin
Right.
in the series, in the TV series, was a cerebral character that would, he could always figure things out, and he was smart, and he went to Cambridge. Karen, just FYI, he went to Cambridge, and
Well, we can't all go to Oxford.
yeah. It was just a completely, and because they were friends, they were not enemies. They were actually partners in Uncle, where
I
here
was-
they're they're American and Russian, but because they're in the Uncle network, they were all against Thrush, which was that.
They're
that
criminals.
group.
Thrush were
Yeah.
criminals. They weren't a.
Yeah, it was a global criminal thing that everybody, the rest of the world was against, and the two of them were, so to me, it was completely different characters.
Yeah.
And because
Napoleon Solo, he was the clear-cut star.
Yeah, Robert
yeah.
Vaughn.
Oh yeah. Well, no,
Robert Vaughn,
you mean on the series or the movies?
Yeah, on the series.
On the
Well, on the
series.
series, he was initially, but Ilya got, or David McCallum got so, because he was supposed to be just a throwaway character, and he got so much fan mail that he got more mail than Napoleon Solo. Not only that, they made him a way, way bigger character in the series as it went on, because he was more popular than Napoleon Solo. And he got the most mail of anyone at that time. Fan mail. So, it's.
But I did
It's
think that
exotic.
in the movie that the main character, the Napoleon Solo, George, I think he was trying to play that
Yes.
previous character.
I think you're right.
His whole tone and everything, he sounded a lot like Napoleon Solo from the TV series.
Well, I think he was written that way,
Yeah, I think so too.
In the original series, Napoleon Solo was a womanizer. In the movie, Henry Cavill,
yeah.
Napoleon Solo.
And then he dressed impeccably.
Right, yeah.
And I also kind of remember that they were always working out an office, almost like they probably were all over the place, but it seemed like they were in the United States most of the time. But I don't know.
They didn't have the budget,
No.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's
It
something.
was on NBC, by the way.
Oh,
not
okay.
ABC.
You
Yeah.
should have been able to see it. Yeah. Except
I
you
should
weren't
have. I
28
should have.
yet.
Yeah.
But some of the things that I saw in the movie that reminded me of the TV show, when they did not just split screen, but all the different.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And the way that they would, do the quick, kind of cutaway shots and that sort of thing. And it had sort of I felt like it had a very mod kind of tone to it. But one of the reviews that I read said that, they felt like Ritchie didn't commit to the 60s vibe. And I thought, no, I don't agree with that necessarily.
Well, I get why somebody would say that, because they used that as transitions early on in the movie, and then they went 100% away from it until the back end of it. So I mean, that's what I think you're saying there. And then I also I equate those fractured frames like that more with the old Wild Wild West.
Yes.
Rather than Man from U.N.C.L.E, but it's just me.
Yeah, it was kind of that era.
It was a new thing, yeah.
Did I imagine it, or did they have a lot of prism camera rainbow I mean, it seemed like every time they had any sort of shot that had a pan, there was a spectrum. Maybe I imagined it, but I don't know. I didn't know if that was a thing from the TV show or something they introduced in this movie, but.
Or the gummies that you had. I don't know.
Yeah.
Could be it.
So it looks like lens flare, sort of.
Yeah.
No, I noticed that too. So
same gummies. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
They're the
remember a
best.
TV show from back then called The Mod Squad?
Yep.
Sure.
Oh God, yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
That one was bad. That was not.
I kind of liked it.
I did
kinda
not
liked
like
it.
that one. That one was like so dumb. So one of the things I wrote down that was that Armie Hammer and Henry Cavill had no chemistry, that they were flat but gorgeous, and they said the high octane thrill of Ritchie's Sherlock films has been replaced by boring hot guys suavely saving the world. But like I said, when you look at people, not reviewers, a lot of people said did like it, so. And I would have loved to have seen that, that that continue. Maybe they could have replaced Armie Hammer with somebody that less cannibalistic, but
Mm.
You know,
He was a
it still
cannibal.
made for.
oh God, yeah, that's the controversy with Armie Hammer. Why has been you haven't seen him in anything since 2020 is because of the sexual misconduct and cannibalism and rape and bondage and branding and
Oh my
non-consensual
God.
Cannibalism?
sadism. Yeah, and
Oh, yeah.
he swears he didn't do it, and and there's been a lot of the LA police department investigated for several years and then declined to press charges. So I mean, it's a hot mess. And then he got a podcast, and he's just been weird.
Oh
It's
my
like
God.
even though his sort of the legal piece has been cleared up, and he's and it's inconclusive, shall we say. I don't know that he's ever going to have the career that he might have had.
Is this the Ilya Kuryakin character?
Yeah, but they're talking the
Okay.
actor. Yeah.
He's extremely rich too. He's like
Not anymore. His
Yeah.
family disowned him.
Oh yeah, they took away his
Yeah, he's got nothing from that
inheritance.
Armie Hammer. Yeah,
Armie Hammer.
yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
from that Armie Hammer family?
Yeah.
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 Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he's
Wow.
poor now. He had to sell his truck because he couldn't afford to put gas in. Yeah,
Oh
I
my
know.
gosh.
He's broke. Well, at least in 2023, he said he was broke. Yeah. But his agent dropped him. The studios, and projects dropped him. He hasn't worked. So yeah, he's kind of a God.
Yeah.
And he's gorgeous. It's like, damn, God, why did you put such a weird, creepy ass guy? Yeah, I've got a good guy in that wonderful 6'5", great looking. No, you put a monster in there. Oh,
So
wow.
he's taller than the other guy. I heard you when I first came
Oh,
on. You were
yeah.
talking
He's
about
Oh,
like
yeah.
4 or 5 inches taller. Henry Cavill says he's 6'1", but I think he's about
So, yeah.
5'11".
Karen, did you see the list of the men that they tried to get to play? I think it was Solo. Tried to get
No,
play Solo. George Clooney, Tom
Oh, yeah.
He'd have been
Cruise,
too old. Ew, and Tom
Ryan
Cruise.
Gosling.
Yeah,
Tom
he-
Cruise would have come up to Armie
Hayden
Hammer.
I know.
and
We
said,
did
"Hey,
it
Yeah.
about here on.
Worked.
But they
Tom Cruise
hadn't
is
they
tiny.
didn't
Yeah,
they had signed Cruise. Wasn't that right? They signed Cruise and then Cruise had to leave for some reason. I can't remember.
Probably
Isn't he
Mission
busy with
Impossible.
Mission Impossible?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
it wasn't a conflict of interest. I mean, they I'm almost positive that they had signed him and then it just didn't come to be. So
Okay. I think
Speaking
Henry
of spy
Cavill- I like
movies,
Henry Cavill in it, but
I like the Jason Bourne series. I thought those
oh
were
yeah,
Oh, those
are
yes, that's
good,
a really
yeah.
good one. Yeah.
yeah.
For
Too
some
bad
reason,
Manson's
I
not here. Jason Bourne is from Nixa, Missouri.
right.
Really?
Oh yeah, in the
Jeff
movie.
Copeland's been trying to talk for the last 10 minutes.
It's a minor thing. I was just going to say, even though this wasn't a box office success, it still made $45 million of profit. You'd think that would get somebody's attention, right?
Well,
It cost
worldwide,
75.
but it didn't do
But
well.
yeah,
In-
but they still got the money, right?
they
from
did. Right.
having
Right.
the movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was in Canadian dollars, and that barely.
They gotta
Okay.
subtract the tariffs.
Yeah.
That answers it.
Okay.
So back to Mike Mahoney, the anachronisms, some of the ones, the Ray-Bans that they're wearing are
Yeah.
not from that era. The CO2 laser that, when he cuts through the fence, that wasn't invented until like the late 60s.
I got to get me one of those.
I know, aren't they cool?
Yeah.
Cool.
The Land Rover that he's driving, no, it's like from the 70s, and then the 4x4s also. So there were, and there were other technology things that I'm not, savvy enough to say for sure that's wrong. But it was like, let's see, like I said, I can remember in the 80s technology being clunkier than what it seemed to be in
Mhm.
this movie supposedly set in 1963. So
Yeah.
Weirdly, that disc looked like when they were burning it, it looked like it had tape in it rather than a disc. It was like
Yeah.
a little clump of tape. So it kind of looked like a little tape drive or something, but
Well,
I've never
yeah.
seen anything that looked like that. That was kind of out of the imagination of the prop guys, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was kind of quaint, the post-World War II US versus Russia. Pretty simple, take sides, not that complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think, yeah, that's all I think I had that I was.
Are you a huge Guy Ritchie fan?
I love the Sherlock movies, and I like this movie. There's some of the other movies of his but I was looking, on IMDb. It's like, oh, I'd never seen that before, so I might watch a couple more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was, he doesn't have the greatest taste in ex-wives, but Madonna,
Has he been married to somebody else besides Madonna?
Madonna.
I was going to mention the movie that I think I like the best is Skyfall.
Oh
And
yeah.
Oh,
it-
that was so good.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a good one, yeah.
That's a very good one.
That's a Guy Ritchie movie?
No, it's a
No.
James Bond movie.
James
Bye.
Bond. Yeah.
Daniel Craig, and that's when M got killed.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
killer.
I just remember Adele's song. That's all I remember about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good.
And I think that Get Smart was kind of a parody on
Yeah.
Uncle, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
Mike, you watched
Oh,
Get
yeah.
Smart, didn't you?
Well, sure.
Tony,
Of
did you
course,
watch
yeah.
Get Smart when you were a kid?
Jeff, get
Chaos and
you up
control.
here to your head, talk on it.
Yeah.
He talked on his
Yeah.
phone. Yeah. His shoe was his phone, and
Yeah,
And the cone of silence.
the cone of silence. That's right. That's right.
I didn't watch it.
Which
I
was
didn't
a
watch a lot of it.
precursor to the Coneheads. Yeah. No, go
I
ahead.
didn't watch a lot of it, but I did watch that much.
Missed it back. Yeah.
Was a spy series, a British spy series called Spooks or MI5. It's been my favorite.
Oh, I never saw that.
It's kind of hard to find. I've looked for it to see it, but they have, oh man, they have great storyline and a great set of spies, MI5 spies.
What was the English couple? It was the guy in a bowler hat.
The Avengers.
That's
Avengers.
it.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
Emma
Avengers.
Peel. Yeah.
Yes. I love that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
like that was on like a long. That was in the 60s.
Yeah, that was a long
was
running
like
one.
7 or 8
Well,
years.
it was
Yeah.
her. She was so good.
Yeah, she
Diana
was.
Well, both
Riggs.
of them. Yeah.
Diana-
Well, yeah. They played off each other. The chemistry there
well.
was so funny. I mean,
Yes.
it was strictly a comedy, but they
Yes.
just,
But
you
so
know,
good. But so good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Diana Riggs.
And I think didn't they make a
Right, right.
movie of that?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever saw it, but I kind of remember that.
Yeah, another US TV show in that genre. I can't remember the name of it, but it was Robert Culp and Bill Cosby.
Oh,
I
yes.
Spy.
I Spy.
I Spy, right.
Nice spot.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Cosby was the first.
Another
Whatever
guy you
happened-
don't want around your
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever happened to
your
Bill
sister, your
Cosby?
daughter's your wife. Yeah.
He got out.
Yeah.
He's blind, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. I'm glad you had a fun time.
Hey,
It wasn't one of
fun.
our, deep discussions.
It was a good escape week. Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
Yes. Yes, it was.
So who's next?
I can't play along next week. Sorry.
And
So-
I'm going to be
Yeah,
on a
it's your turn,
cruise as
isn't it?
well.
Dumpling Head. It might be Dumpling Head's turn.
Dumpling Head might be gone next week too, but
Which
No,
means it falls to Bill. Bill, you better be prepared just in case.
Next week?
Yeah.
Where are you going, Donna?
just a Caribbean cruise with some of the
Me
friends
too.
that we met in China, that we went to China with. You too?
Are we on the same ship?
Where are you leaving from?
Wouldn't that be something?
We're
We
on the
leave,
Constellation.
We leave from Miami on Wednesday on the Oceana Vista.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that's
Yeah,
it.
we're leaving
But
out
we're
of
to-
Tampa.
But tomorrow we're going to go see Lisa.
Oh, good. Good, good, good. She looks really good.
Yep, yep. She came to Orlando to watch Lucy dance.
I
Back to you,
know.
Bill.
Well, Jeff, do you have a pick? Because if
Yeah,
you do,
I
we
came
should
up
watch
with
it in
one.
case you can be there, but we need to have Bill as a backup just in case that you can't be there. Does that make sense?
Well, if I'm not there, I mean, you guys can talk about it if you want.
Oh, without you?
Yeah. You
Okay.
gotta be the presenter.
You can watch the video.
Well, whatever you want to do.
Go
Did
ahead
you
and
choose
tell
one,
us.
Jeff?
Yeah.
I had picked Django Unchained.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
It's kind of a long movie, but it's a dramedy, Quentin Tarantino film starring Jamie Foxx, Christoph Waltz, and Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's on Netflix.
Ah.
2012
Slightly
movie.
gory.
Yeah.
Never seen it. Never seen it.
Me neither.
It's
I
pretty
have seen it
intense.
before, and I
Yeah.
don't remember much about it, but I do remember I liked it. So
Mhm. Mhm.
Well, that'd be a real shame if you're not there to talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, if he's not
I can
there,
add a little
we'll
bit of
talk.
gore to it then.
Oh,
We'll just talk about you.
Yeah.
Django.
At what
I'm sure
point-
it'll be fine. I'm just, I don't do well with anesthetic, but it's just a local, so it shouldn't be a big deal.
It might be
might have
fun
won
for the
Best
rest
Picture.
of us.
Yeah.
I think it won Best Picture.
Django?
I think it was nominated, but I don't think it won it. It
Yeah, I
did
don't think
win
it
a couple,
won, but I think
not
you're
that
right. It
one.
was nominated.
Where does that fall in Tarantino's oeuvre? Which one? He's only going to make like 10 or 12, right?
From
It
2012.
was like after Inglourious Bastards. Inglorious, or I think. I wouldn't swear to that.
It's from 2012. I found that.
Yep.
2012.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just an academic question. We can figure it out.
It had won Academy Award for Best Actor in a supporting role.
Who
Who
was
was
it?
that?
Christoph Waltz, I think.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and he was in Inglourious Bastards too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a great character in that.
Yeah, he got scalped.
Oh, God.
All right, well, it'll be a good one.
Any recommendations from anybody?
I can gently recommend The Wolves, which is Brad Pitt and George Clooney
Oh,
on
yeah.
Apple. It's
Yeah.
kind of it's in a way, it's kind of like this that we just watched, because they start out as adversaries, really hating each other, and they kind of find out that they're in the same business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
What's it called?
Wolves.
Wolves.
Is
Yeah.
it new?
Yeah.
Fairly.
Relatively. Yeah.
It's good. I've seen it. Yeah, Jeff, it's a good one.
Who's in it?
Brad Pitt and George Clooney.
Oh,
I know.
I would say anything that's up for an Academy Award that you can get your hands on would be a good thing to watch.
Yeah.
Um,
I've not seen The
Isn't-
Brutalist. Have you, Donna? Have you seen The
No,
Brutalist?
haven't seen it.
it's almost 4 hours.
I
Yeah.
know.
I know.
Oh my God.
We're
I
like trying
don't,
to,
I don't have the bandwidth for a 4-hour movie.
Or the urinary tract. Yeah.
That too, yeah. Or
Think of it as 2-hour movies.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Yeah.
well, I don't think it's rentable.
I haven't been able to.
Yeah.
So no,
Has it been in a theater?
Yeah, it's been in theaters.
Yeah.
it's been
Oh,
in theater.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it has an intermission.
Does it?
Yeah,
Better.
it's that long. Yeah.
I watched Nickel Boys this week.
Oh, what's that on?
That was on, I don't know, we had to pay for it. I think we got it on Prime. But
Okay.
I mean, it could very well win. It's pretty depressing.
Oh,
You know, it's about the black kids that get sent away to a reform school in Florida.
mm,
And
mm,
they're-
Florida.
It's bad, but it'll probably win the Academy Awards, you know.
Is there a movie called I'm Still Here or I'm Still
Yes.
Around?
I think
Is
we're
that,
going to see that tomorrow. That's in the theaters too.
how about the movie like September 76 or something, and it's the Olympics that
Oh, yeah.
the TV crew, thinking they're covering sports, has to cover Israeli hostage. Has anybody seen that?
No, I haven't seen
No.
it.
Is it nominated for Best Picture?
No,
I think so.
No.
No.
no, I know what you're
The-
talking about.
The trailer looked good, but I haven't
Yeah.
been able to see it anywhere.
I saw Nora last week.
Yeah, that's the one people are saying might win Best Picture,
Is that still at the theater?
No, I saw it on,
streaming.
I paid for it too. But it wasn't too expensive.
It ought to be free, as bad as it is.
Conclave is free on whatever service that's on. Conclave might be on Netflix. And
I
that's,
hope Conclave wins something. I really like
Yeah.
the movie. Really did. I'd love to see it get Best Picture.
got a,
Chris, you didn't enjoy Anora?
Shut it off after about 30 minutes. Go, no, I'm not watching this. That and The Substance, same thing. Start watching it and it's like, no.
Is that the one with Demi Moore?
Yes. Mhm.
Has anybody seen that?
I'm watching it right now.
Chris has seen the beginning.
About the first 30 minutes, couldn't stand it anymore. Shut it off. I just, oh no, I'm not going to waste my time. Dune or Dune 2. My son's like, oh yeah, Mom, you got to watch Dune first, and then you got to watch, part 1, then you got to watch Dune part 2.
That's the Bob Dylan musical, right?
That is fabulous.
Yeah. A complete
That
unknown. I would like to see that win, but it won't.
It was very, very good. I hope it wins something or somewhere. But Dune is like, come on. I just don't have the same taste as my son in movies.
Right.
So what's the point of these people all running around through the sand shooting each other and hiding out in some cave? Oh no, sorry.
Yeah, it worked for Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. But didn't have some big googly-eyed thing coming up at you.
You just don't get the Benny Gesserit thing. That's the problem.
Well, I guess not.
I watched one called Flow, an animation. It was good. It's up in a couple categories. And there's just follows a cat that's going through kind of swept away like in Noah's Ark.
Oh,
It's interesting. I mean, the grandkids were over for it, the granddaughter, and but it's good. It's pretty
what
good.
category is that nominated?
Animations.
Animation.
Have you seen Wild Robot, Bill?
Yeah, I liked it.
Was
I
it
like
better?
I don't know. I would hate to pick between the two of them.
They're both good.
Both
Huh?
really good though.
Really?
Those Wild Robot.
Does anybody follow the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World series?
Well, I've seen all, but I haven't seen the newest one.
Well, there's There's one it isn't out yet. It's coming out in July. Jurassic World Rebirth. So,
Jeez.
my granddaughter is totally into Jurassic Park, Jurassic World.
Oh,
We had a
oh.
dinosaur themed birthday party, and we watched Jurassic World again while she was here. She was my overnight guest for Valentine's Day. So, yeah,
You do those things. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, we watched Nosferatu a few weeks ago.
You did?
Yeah. Went to the movie, saw it with my son. And then last week he was over and he said, let's watch The Lighthouse. It's by the same director.
Oh God.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gory.
I wish I hadn't.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, only 2 more to go for that director. He's got a couple of other ones out there too.
Hmm.
It's a different style.
Well, the Nosferatu one, though, as I understand, is very, very similar to the original. So it was kind of an homage to that. It wasn't even shot for shot, supposedly, it's very similar. So
I can't keep up with this crowd. Donna's using words like homage, and Jeff's using words like oeuvre. I'm left
Oh,
behind.
yeah. This is a
Can't keep up.
Yes,
Yeah,
Jeff
this is
Copeland,
considered-
we have a vocabulary lesson every week. There's
Yes.
some new word that comes up. I could probably start listing them off for you. Now today, I don't know, pejorative. I think we all kind of know what that would be.
Yeah.
I think so.
The League of Unpaid Film Critics Glossary of Terms.
There you go.
Yes,
Here we go.
Evanescence.
Unabridged.
Well, it's only 2 more weeks till the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Not much time to get through them all.
It's on a Sunday. So just one more league meeting
Mm-hmm.
before the Academy Awards.
Are you
Is
telling
that-
us we need to get our ballots into you?
Yeah.
But you can make a guess. Who do you think's going to win?
Is there a win? I mean, is there a prize for the most correct answers?
Well,
Unlimited bragging rights.
Right.
there
That's
could
good.
be.
Yeah.
Who do you
Are
think?
those televised?
What do you think's going to win Best Picture? You've seen most of them.
Oh, I would think Amari or whatever, however you say it,
Nora.
just because
Nora.
Nora, just because it is so different. And I originally thought Amelia Perez would win, but I think, and I don't know the whole scandal of the actress,
Yeah.
but whatever. I think she's on the outs with the Hollywood elite.
Right.
So I would think Anari might win. Just because it's such a strong female character in a really bizarre way.
Yeah.
And I mean, Conclave is a beautifully shot film. A Complete Unknown is a well-told story, well acted. It's probably got as good a chance as anything else.
Yeah. And Adrian Brody's
yeah.
winning, best actor for The Brutalist. So we'll see.
No,
Yeah.
The Real Pain is on there too, isn't it?
Yeah.
What did the Screen Actors Guild? What won? What was Best Picture there? Because I know Golden Globes gave it to Amelia Perez, but what did the Screen Actors
I
Guild?
thought that was next week. Did it already happen?
You're thinking about BAFTA, which just happened last weekend. The British.
Yeah.
So Screen Actors Guild hasn't occurred yet.
Yeah, I think that's Sunday, isn't it? Think it is. I'm not sure.
BAFTA gave A Real Pain Best Picture, didn't it, Karen?
I'm looking it up. Conclave won Best Film at
Oh,
BAFTA.
Okay, but
Nora and The Brutalist also took home major
Mhm.
prize, it says.
A Real Pain must have won for original screen.
I think Kieran Culkin. I think he yeah.
A real toss-up.
It is. It's gonna be interesting to see.
Mhm.
Oh, Best Director went to the Courbet for The Brutalist.
But SAG hasn't happened yet.
No.
I don't think so, but
Don't know.
I thought it was going to be on the 23rd.
23rd, it says Sunday, February 23rd, 31st Screen Actors Guild Awards.
Yeah.
And the week after that are the Academy Awards.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get them all confused because there's a Super Bowl, then there's the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show, and then there's the Daytona 500.
I know. And
then
the
I can't
Giant
keep-
Schnauzer won. I love
Oh, he was
dog.
great.
Yeah, he was a good looking boy.
Yes.
can't keep all these award shows straight.
Well, guys, it's almost 8 o'clock. I know
All right.
there-
No, it's 9 o'clock here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
9 o'clock here.
Donna and I are in Florida.
that's
Yep.
right. Yeah, yeah.
All right, guys. I'll
right,
probably
y'all.
see you in 2 weeks. I'll try to check
All
in
All
Monday.
right.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Jeff,
Okay.
for picking.
See
We'll
ya.
see Django.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 Thanks,
Bye.
Karen.